Good to see you.
The chair calls Richard Jankovsky.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair.
Good afternoon.
Members, my name is Richard Jankowski. I'm here on behalf of the DPS Officers Association. My name is Lieutenant Richard Jankowski. I am the president of the Department of Public Safety Officers Association. Thank you for your time today. I know everybody's had a long day. DPSOA supports the Department of Public Safety's budget request, but we also want to speak about the findings of the state auditor who released a report last month that shows the salaries for DPS troopers are far below average when compared to those of local law enforcement, and that the disparity between state and local law enforcement salaries has increased significantly since the last report. According to the new report, the state auditor's office found that the maximum base pay for troopers is 12.2% below comparable salaries of the 7 largest local law enforcement departments in the state. The gap is even larger for senior level law enforcement positions such as sergeants, lieutenants, and captains, who are up to 16.7% below comparable salaries. Last session, when we testified before this same body, the report showed that we were 5.9% to 8.5% behind. A failure to act has caused Schedule C to fall significantly further behind. The last full adjustment to our salary was in 2013. If nothing is done this session to close the gap, DPS troopers will have gone a decade without a base pay raise, while during this same time period, requirements and duties for DPS officers have grown considerably, including lengthy deployments to the border, deployments to Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio for assistance with their agencies to police the high crime areas, literally working shoulder to shoulder with the very agencies making significantly higher pay for doing the exact same job. Deployments to natural and man-made disasters, including hurricanes, fires, and tornadoes. Deployments across the state to provide assistance for civil unrest. Deployments due to the COVID-19 pandemic to include screening people at airports, screening people at the Louisiana border, being present at the testing locations to ensure that they run smoothly. And now we're being present at the vaccination locations, working closely with our local partners to ensure the traffic flow gets in and out and it runs in a smooth manner. And deployments to protect our state capitol, to prevent a tragedy like that which took place at the U.S. Capitol. When the state of Texas calls, DPS responds. The men and women do not ask why or how long they will be gone. They simply do what they do every day, protecting the state and its citizens. Governor Abbott in his proposed budget acknowledges that DPS troopers work tirelessly to ensure the public safety of Texas, but have been stretched thin. He also noted that approximately 900 troopers will be eligible for retirement in the upcoming biennium. We're also very concerned about turnover from troopers who may decide they would rather work fewer hours for substantially more pay at local law enforcement level. Today, we heard Director McCraw testify that DPS has 359 vacancies in the commission ranks. The director may tell you that DPS has full academies and a lot of applicants to choose from. However, that only addresses the entry-level positions. It does not do anything as far as employee retention. We ask that this committee increase base pay at least as suggested in option 1 of the state auditor's report. We are aware that COVID-19 interrupted our booming economy last year. However, economic and budget conditions are clearly improving, and our troopers, rangers, and CID agents are overdue and deserving of a pay raise. We ask for this body to stop kicking the can down the road and act this session. If the trend holds true and nothing is done, our pay has the potential to be 24 to 32% behind our 7 peer agencies by the next session. We're also asking for a 20% pay raise for our communications operators. They have not seen a pay increase since 2009. They are an integral part of DPS's team, and none of the aforementioned missions could be accomplished without them. They are our voice behind the scenes. They keep us alive, and they give us the ability to do the service that the public deserves. Without them, we can't do it. DPSOA and our members look forward to visiting with you more about this important issue, and we will continue to advocate for a pay raise for our state troopers and communication operators to be included in the 2022-2023 state budget. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today.
And thank you for your service and to all the people that you represent. Representative Holland.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Lieutenant Jankovsky, thank you for your testimony. You talked about base pay and your peer agencies. Can you tell me a little bit about your peer agencies?
Yes.
How's that calculated exactly?
So just before session, every biennium, the state auditor compares the salaries of the 7 largest local agencies in Texas, which is El Paso PD, Dallas PD, Fort Worth PD, Austin PD, San Antonio PD, Houston Police Department, and the Harris County Sheriff's Office. They take those 7 agencies and average their pay and see where the state pay scale, which is Schedule C, falls in comparison to all of those.
Okay. And what is the current base pay structure for a trooper?
A trooper's starting pay in the academy is $40,350 a year. Upon graduation, they go to $44,082 a year. When they hit their 1 year, from 1 year to the 4-year mark, it's $53,242 a year. Their scheduled increases every 4 years. At the 20-year mark, the trooper tops out at $79,323 a year.
So starting out around $40,000.
In the academy, yes, sir.
Is that
that is our
including
base pay.
Is that any overtime or anything like that?
That is our base pay. Now, the legislatures have been very gracious with our expanded enforcement program, and that is the 50-hour work week that we heard the director talk about this morning, and frankly, we couldn't function without it. However, it's not a pay raise. We're simply being paid money that we're owed.
You're just working 50 hours.
None of us have a choice not to work 50 hours. Every commission member of this agency works a 50-hour work week, which we're very gracious for. It has provided some immediate financial relief to the members, and it ensures that we are able to fulfill the mission of the agency, and it's also a good retention tool.
Sure.
However, it doesn't do anything in the long end. That money does not go towards our retirement. As we all know, things could change, and from one session to the next, it could.
So you mentioned the state auditor's report.
Yes, sir.
What are the because I haven't looked at it, what are the
Yes, sir.
recommendations of the state auditor from base pay to what they're recommending?
There's 3 recommendations in the report. We are asking for option 1 to be considered to be enacted. The reason we are asking for option 1 is it does the most for the entry-level positions, and that's about a 12% increase. There is option 2, and I don't know the dollar amount off my top of my head, but we'll be happy to get you a copy of that report if we haven't already.
Would love to see the options
Yes.
for the state auditor's report. And Lieutenant, you're active, right?
Yes, sir.
And I imagine, what area do you work?
I'm stationed in Victoria. I have 7 counties.
Okay. Earlier, I was asking Colonel McCraw about the way that we deploy different troopers throughout the state. Do you ever get pulled from Victoria to go to other areas?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When's the last time you've been deployed from
2 weeks
Victoria?
ago. I was here for the freeze. I was camping in here, maybe this room.
You got pulled out of Victoria during the freeze to come here?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Wow.
sir. Myself, 4 sergeants, and 40 troopers. It was the team that we brought from our district.
Wow. How many were here at the Capitol?
A
Couple hundred?
There was a bunch.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And most people throughout the state lost their electricity. How'd your family fare?
We lost our electricity at home as well. My wife and daughter went and stayed with a friend. Had a couple broken water lines, but we were blessed it wasn't as bad as other people.
Good. Well, we certainly appreciate what you guys do and your membership and the department, quite frankly, and would like to really take a hard look at this pay issue because you guys are hardworking and live up to and fulfill what the department's about. So we thank you for taking the time to spend all day long here.
That's okay.
We're going on a pretty long meeting here, but
Yes, sir.
thank you for your time and your service, and look forward to working with you on this issue.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I really appreciate your patience. A question, so the 40,000, the starting base pay, that doesn't account for example, say Austin. Austin's cost of living is
No.
super expensive, whereas other places that might be semi-reasonable, still not where it needs to be, but nonetheless, like if you're in Austin, you can't really live off $40,000.
No, ma'am. And what we found, as a matter of fact, during the oil boom, when we had these young troopers in our membership being deployed to West Texas, Midland, Odessa,
They were
the
making
cost of
less.
living was unreal.
Yep.
And so they were partnering up, 3 or 4 renting a nothing just so they'd have a roof over their head because they simply didn't have enough money to get adequate housing. And there is no housing bonus, not like the military, no BAQ or BAH anywhere. You get what you get.
Do you think long term, thinking about how big Texas is and the variances of cost of living depending where you live, like the Dallas area is very different than El Paso, right? Like, should we consider something like that long term?
I think long-term, I think the best practice would be, especially with an agency as large as DPS, is to get Schedule C at a level that regardless of where you're stationed at, you could find housing. Because within our agency, through promotions and transfers, you're subject to be stationed anywhere in the state.
I appreciate your feedback. Thank you so much, and thank you for
Thank
your
you.
service.
Thank you.
All right. The chair calls Dennis Borrell.